to our Tuesday night live video or the recording, whatever day you happen to be watching. Make sure if you have not hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button. That way you will get notified. Believe it or not, when you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell, all that does is notify you when we upload free tips. And if we do go live here, like we do every Tuesday night, it'll send you a message just reminding you, hey, they're live. That way we can interact. And so anyway, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, give the video a thumbs up, and that way you don't miss any of our free weight loss or health tips or whatever we're doing here on the channel. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about 10. I was going to count in Spanish, but then I realized 10 was a long ways to go. And if I mess it up, it's on camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. I missed one. 10 is 10. 7, 8, 9, 10. I am not Hispanic. I took 2 years of Spanish in high school, which is a very long time ago. So I'm trying to recall from... Someone's going to be like, I cannot believe you're Hispanic and you can't count to 10. Anyway, I try to use some of it sometimes just because, you know, like, I don't know. If you don't use it, you lose it. So I can count to 10, kind of. I can say margarita, that's a Spanish word. La playa, that's beach. El gato, that's a cat. So I can basically ask where my cat's at or the beach is at. Pantalones, I can ask where my pants are too. I can cuss in Spanish. Isn't that sometimes the first word we ever learn in a foreign language? We're like, what's the cuss words? All right, so 10 things that you can do to make your day better. And these are really simple things. And here's what I will tell you. We live in a country today where we have the most diagnosed clinical depressed people that we've ever had. Depression, suicide, this is like a real thing inside of our country. And most people suffer in silence, which means we are unhappy, but we keep it all in. And so keeping it in never did anything for anybody. So look, at the end of the day, if you're on here, and I just want to say this before we get started, if you are suffering and you think you might have depression or you've had suicidal thoughts, reach out. There are places that can help. And if you don't know, send me a message. I will make sure to get you in touch with somebody that can help you. But there is hope. There is hope. And if you're not in a happy place right now, it doesn't mean you're far from it. Like I can remember, gosh, it's been 8 years ago, walking through one of the darkest times in my adult life, knocking on divorce's doorstep, being newly married, and just really having a rough go at life where it seemed like everything was coming against me. Nothing was working out. And, you know, looking back now and in the whole scheme of things, it was such a short season of life. Feeling depressed because I was so overweight and I felt like there was no hope. And I was just destined to be this big boned, morbidly obese woman that nothing would work for. It worked for all those other people, but nothing had ever worked for me. And so these are 10 simple things that I incorporate into my day that have helped keep me out of those dark places for more than 7 years. And that have really given me a joy in my life on a daily basis where it's not even in my language anymore that I'm having a bad day. I might have a bad moment, but I have learned how to deal with those bad moments and not let it create a bad day or a bad week or a bad month or some people, a bad decade. And so anyway, hopefully my happy tips will help you be happy. And I'm really not exaggerating. Like, it doesn't mean like I never let something frustrate me, but I always go back to these things right here that even if I haven't had a frustrated moment, I don't stay there. All right. All right. Number 1, get dressed. It's really simple. Get dressed. I coming from a young adult into my college days, like there were times where I would like not shower in a day. I would stay in my pajamas. I wouldn't shower. I was lucky to, like, I did brush my teeth, but you know, I never did anything to make myself up or to look presentable at all. And I'm not saying you got to go all out and do a full face of glam makeup and, you know, be dressed to the nines. I'm just saying, get dressed, shower off, wash so you smell good. And even if you're throwing on some yoga pants and a comfy sweatshirt, get dressed. There's just something about getting up and getting dressed that helps you feel awake, alive, better. I make sure that I get myself ready, my hair, my makeup several times a week. Even though I work from home, 80% of my time is spent as a wife and a mom. The other 20% of the time is spent as an entrepreneur, doing something in one of our businesses, helping people lose weight, working out. I'm so excited that my workout clothes are my uniform most days. But they make really cute, sexy workout clothes these days. But my point is, get dressed, get up. You will be shocked at how much better you feel just by getting up and getting dressed. It's true. On days where I'm like, just rinsing off, taking a shower, putting on some body spray, getting dressed, I feel so much better than if I wouldn't have. So that's tip number one. And again, all these are simple. And here's the thing, don't discount them. Most people that end up being depressed don't do these on a daily basis, is the truth of the matter. All right. Number 2, make your bed. Make your bed. I am going to admit something on camera right now. I suck at making my bed. I suck at it. Because when I get out of bed in the morning, my husband is still in the bed. And so when I get up, I work out, and then from the time I get up, my day is started. So I don't spend a lot of time in my room. So I have to make a special trip back in there to make my bed. And what I will tell you is on days that I make my bed, there is a peace and and look, joy and peace are buddies. Where there's peace, there's normally joy. Where there's joy, there's normally peace. Where there's not peace, there's not normally joy. All right? When everything's chaotic, it's hard. I'm not saying you can't, but it's hard to have joy amongst the chaos. It just is. And so when I walk in my bedroom and it looks like a tornado hit it, and there's pillows everywhere and this big fluffy comforter, because my husband and I are not, some people, they sleep, they wake up, they get out of bed, there's like our covers look like they look thrashed when we get out of bed in the mornings. Like I don't know what we do to that bed, but sometimes the sheets, I don't even know. Anyway, to have my bed made brings a peace. And it's much easier to have joy and happiness when there's peace. And so make your bed. Get in the habit. Again, if you don't make your bed, it's just because you're in the habit of not making it. So to make your bed, all you have to do is change that habit of not making it into a habit of making it. All right. Number 3, get outside for at least 15 minutes a day. Get outside for 15 minutes a day. Whether you go sit on your front porch, whether you take a walk down your driveway or in your neighborhood, whether you walk around the yard, whether you go outside and play kickball with the kids, whether sometimes I'll just stand on my back deck and through our woods, you can see horses, and I'll watch them, and whatever it is. Sometimes I'll just go outside and sit and listen to the birds. And I am not a nature girl I never started as a nature girl. I have always been more of a city girl than a nature girl. But through making myself get outside and appreciate nature, I've really grown to love it. This past fall, we drove up to the mountains, and my husband, I said, all right, when we get there, I want to make sure we hike. And he was like, who are you? You're the one wanting to make sure we hike and see nature? And I was like, yes, I am. Because I have practiced, I have put this into practice, which has made me love nature. Why? Because it brings a peace, it brings a joy. We live in the woods, so you can see trees and birds, and it is just one of the most common things that I'll hear from people when they come stay at our house, and there's such a peace, such a calmness. And part of the reason is, we have a clean home, but the other part is we are in nature, and that definitely helps. It's serene, it's calming, it's not like car horns all day long and so get outside 15 minutes a day. Go to the park, go outside. Even if you, we used to live in a townhome where you would go out on our deck and you could see 10, 20 neighbors from that deck. But even still, getting outside, getting in the sunlight will help you be happy. A lot of people that are depressed keep it dark. So So at the worst case scenario, open up your curtains, open up the shades, and just stand in the sunlight. Bask it all in. Worst case scenario. If you're like, Carmen, I live in Las Vegas and it's hot. And if I go outside, I'm going to sweat. I get it. I'm not a big fan of sweating either, unless I want to sweat. Like if I'm out there and I'm like working, I don't care about sweating. But if I'm trying to be cute and I'm sweating, yeah. Anyway. All right. Number 4, listen to at least 10 minutes of personal development every single day. Look, people that are not happy and depressed don't listen to personal development on the regular. And 99% of the time, people that listen to personal development and personal growth every single day, at least 10 minutes, are not depressed. And so sometimes staying happy is finding out what happy people do and do it. Finding out what depressed people do and you don't do it. Why? Because if you start doing things that depressed people do, well, what path are you walking down? Well, if you start doing things that happy people do, what path are you walking on? So you're walking on one or the other. You're walking on a path to be happy and fulfilled and be filled with joy, or you're choosing a path going in the other direction. And by the way, doing either is going in that direction, all right? And so it is our job. Most of the time we look to other people and we're like, well, if my husband would just, or if my boss would just, your happiness, my happiness is my responsibility. It is my job to make sure I'm happy. Just like it's your job to make sure you're happy. The truth is nobody else can make us happy. There's not another person on the planet that can make me happy if I'm not happy. It's the truth. And so many times we're waiting for somebody else to make us happy that we drop the ball on realizing that our happiness is our own responsibility. All right. Next one, make sure you sit, and here's the thing, hold on. With personal development, especially now with like, audiobooks, and they have subscriptions where you can get audiobooks. You can go online, YouTube, and watch podcasts. They have personal development groups. You can read if you want to be old-fashioned about it. I still enjoy reading once in a while, but I am kind of addicted to audiobooks. Like, I love pressing play and hearing the author. And like on audible.com, they're always running specials. You can get 3 free books. And lots of times it's the author. Like right now, I'm listening to a book where she's reading the book, so I'm able to hear her voice. And anyway, it's just really kind of cool. And I'm kind of addicted to it. So I have noticed on seasons where I'm not as fulfilled or I'm not as filled with joy, that is one of the things that's always lacking and I'm not doing, is investing into my personal development. All right, next one. Sit down and eat at least 1 meal per day. I mean, make your meal, sit down at the table, and eat it. Don't sit at the couch watching TV. Sit at your kitchen table at least 1 meal a day and eat. Enjoy a meal. I've actually gotten the habit of doing this for breakfast and dinner. And breakfast is like a non-negotiable for me. Every day I come upstairs from working out, I go take my shower, and then I come and I sit down and I have my fruit, I have my protein shake, and I will sit there and I will eat my fruit. I will look outside at nature. Sometimes I'll take my food outside with me, and I will just have a moment where I just sit and eat my food. If you rewind to those times in life where I was filled with stress, I was filled with anxiety, I was not filled with peace, I was not filled with joy, I never sat down and ate any meals. My meals were constantly on the go. I never sat down and just had time for me to rest during the day and eat a meal. At work, lunches were like working while I ate. Breakfast was eating on the go. Dinner was like freaking at night by the time I got home, thrown together, typically in front of the TV. I never sat down at the table and just ate a meal. All right? I'm telling you, it is, if I get out of this habit, and all of a sudden I start feeling like, what is going on? I start feeling like this. And you can always tell when anxiety's building up. You ever notice you get short with people? Someone says something and it should be a 2 reaction and it's an 8. Like your kids come up and they ask you something, you're like, I said not right now. Like mama bear comes out and you're like, rah, or your spouse does something and you're like, gee, you just blow up on them when normally it was just like a little tiny thing they did and they're like, what is the deal? Those are all signs that you're not exactly being happy or filled with joy, and you should probably do something like sit down and eat a freaking meal. All right, next one. Smile. Smile. And I don't just mean smile. I mean put some freaking effort into it. Like be conscious about it. Don't just smile by default. Be intentional about your smile. Like intentionally make sure you're smiling. Like there's times, and I am one of those people that I can have the RBF. I naturally am gifted with the RBF, the resting B face. I just have it. Some people do, some people don't. I was blessed with that RBF face if I'm not smiling. And so there's times my kids are talking to me and I know that I'm multitasking or I have the RBF going on, and it doesn't mean that I'm not listening, or it doesn't mean that I don't like what they're saying. So there's times where I will intentionally just sit there and I'll smile intentionally. And my daughter, she's like, Mom, I see that smile. I'm thinking, of course you do, because I'm smiling really big. Of course you see it. You better see it. I don't say that. That's what I'm thinking. But a smile communicates acceptance. A smile communicates that I want to hear their ideas. It's welcoming. A normal, it's like, I don't care. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. And so, like, there's even times my husband and I will be talking and I'm listening. I'm just not being aware of my face. And he's like, are you listening? Never mind, never mind. And I'm like, babe, I'm listening. He's like, well, it doesn't feel like you're listening. I'm like, I promise, I'm really listening. And I know automatically, okay, it's because I wasn't smiling. And then sometimes I'll smile and he'll be like, what? And I'm like, he's like, you're distracting me. You're smiling. And so anyway, smile and be intentional about it. All right, next one. Give at least 3 compliments per day. Now, you might be saying, Carmen, I need the compliments. Why? I need joy. Why am I going to be giving other people compliments? Because do you know that bringing joy is contagious? And when you compliment people, you are bringing joy to them. You are basically giving them, even if they have a hectic, chaotic life, even if their life doesn't have a lot of joy in it, when you give someone a compliment, it is like handing them a little slice of joy. And when you sow joy, you reap joy. When you give others joy, joy is contagious. You can't be around somebody who's really happy, and after a while, you're going to be happy too. It's the same, and it goes the other way too. If you're around somebody who is just a jerkwad, eventually you're going to be a jerkwad too. All right? And so give 3 compliments a day, whether that is your kids, your spouse, a stranger at the grocery store, at the post office, at the ball field, wherever it is. Give 3 compliments every single day. Giving life to others actually, in turn, gives life back to yourself. So you can be selfish by being unselfish, which is like the best thing. Sowing life into others and it also bringing life back to you. And if you're in a place in life where you're like, no, Carmen, I need the compliments. All that means, if you want to reap something, really simple, you just sow more of it. So same thing, if you're like, Carmen, my garden is not giving me enough tomatoes. Well, next year, plant more tomatoes. If you plant more tomatoes, if you put more seed in the ground, you're going to have more tomatoes. Same thing. If you're sowing more compliments, you are naturally going to start reaping more compliments. Just kind of how it works. All right. Next one. Limit your time with negative people and influences. And this is a really big one. There are people in our lives that sometimes just need to be cut out. And I know that sounds really bad, but at the end of the day, if someone is doing nothing but bringing you down, why are you allowing them to influence your life? Doesn't mean you have to hate them. It just means you got to have some boundaries. And sometimes people are in your life for a season and that's it. Sometimes friends grow apart. If you are becoming a better person and you have friends that aren't, after a while, you're becoming a better person. They've stayed here. After a while, you no longer have things in common. There are friends that I had 10 years ago that I don't have today. And it's not that I don't think they're good people. we're just not in the same place as we were then. And I'm certain 10 years from now that I might have some different friends than I have today. And so at the end of the day, if you are spending time with negative people or negative influences, you're putting negative in here. And if you're constantly putting negative in here, what's going to come out of here is negative. If you want to have joy come out, you got to put joy in. If you want to have positive come out, you got to put positive in. And you've really got to start asking yourself, what's my priority? Because if you're hanging out with a negative friend and it's making you a negative person, that's making your friend a higher priority over your spouse and your marriage. Because you being a wenchy broad affects your husband. And so it is necessary to be happy to start limiting those negative influences, those negative people that are just negative and they refuse to change. It doesn't mean you can't go to them and say, hey, I love hanging out with you, but constantly gossiping and complaining, if we're going to hang out, man, I just can't keep doing that. It's such a buzzkill. And they're either going to honor your request or they're not. And that's going to tell you how good of a friend they are right there. And sometimes it's healthy to set boundaries. Not sometimes, all the time. It's healthy to set boundaries. And it's healthy to make your happiness and your joy a priority. There's nothing wrong with being selfish when it comes to your happiness. All right? 2 left. Spend time unplugged every single day. There should be a chunk of time every single day where you're not on your phone, where you're not on the TV, where you're not plugged in to media. There should be a chunk of time, at least a chunk. 15, if you're on your devices all the time, start with 20 minutes, start with 10 minutes, start with 30 minutes, where you aren't watching the TV, aren't listening to the radio, you're not on your cell phone, you're not on social media, you're just unplugged. Unplugged. It might feel weird at first when you first do it, but after doing it a little bit, it actually feels free. And it makes you crave that more, versus most of us do not even realize how attached to our devices we are. And my husband and I both, man, we'll tell each other, like, if you see me on my device too much, please tell me. And there's been seasons where we'll both be like, I'll be like, babe, you're on your cell phone a lot. And I'm feeling a little neglected. Or I'm not feeling like the priority. And then he'll do the same thing. Hey, babe, you've picked up your cell phone 3 times tonight while we're watching this. It doesn't exactly feel like you're here with me. And I'll say, you know what? You're right. And so making sure that I have a habit of staying unplugged. Yeah. So last one, don't hit your snooze button. I used to be a snooze button professional. I was a professional snooze button hitter. And inevitably I was starting every single day with procrastination and running behind. And it never brings the best out in any of us when we feel like we're running behind or we've started with procrastination. And so one of the things that I had to train, because I had trained myself to hit the snooze button several times. And now I have trained myself to not. In fact, it wasn't that long ago I was making croissants. And croissants, to make them like, you know, your own, like you would get from a French pastry shop, it's a multi-day process. And you have to work with the dough several times. Well, there was this one, I was going to have to get up at 3:30 in the morning to do my second fold with the dough and put it back in the fridge. And so I was setting my alarm and my husband was like, babe, I don't know. You might want to set like, you know, like, I don't know, like 3:30, you're going to wake up in the middle of the night to go do dough. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I don't know, you better set a couple alarms. And I said, no, I got it. I don't need a couple alarms. Well, then I started thinking, well, maybe I do need a couple alarms. My alarm went off at 3:30. I got up. I didn't need the second or third alarm. Why? Because I've trained myself where I used to hit the snooze button. Now I've trained myself to get up when my alarm goes off instead of procrastinating and running behind. And so anyway, those are my top 10 tips to be happy, filled with joy, which I think is ultimately what we all want. And so Anyway, let me know in the comments if you have anything that you do, any habits, any routines that you do that are like, this really brings me joy. Is it spending time with your dog, spending time with, you know, whoever, whatever. What are some things that you do that you're like, this fills me up with joy? And so anyway, make sure if you haven't, hit the subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, ring the bell, and we will hopefully see you on the next one. Bye.